Some of the videos I make are going to be in two parts from now on, and the reason is we get some amazing rich comments that people put in once they watch my videos, and it's a fantastic rich seam of knowledge, information, experience that people share. It's very moving, very stimulating to read, which I do and respond to all the time. And so by doing videos in two parts, what I managed to do is put forward a significant part of a thesis in the first video, and then incorporating some of the comments that people put through for the second video. So I'm going to do that a few times now. If there's an area that requires breaking down into chunks and will benefit from the feedback of viewers, I'll do that too. That way we can have a kind of iterative process, a dialogical process in which the content is derived from what you say to me as well as the things I'm looking to present. So I'm going to do that particularly with this issue of why is it that a large number of Christians and evangelicals are especially supportive of Trump. And in part one, I talked about how this is very related to their childhood, their upbringing, the authoritarian nature of their childhood, which is very top down, very much about a rigid way of raising children where they're required to follow strict rules and adhere to absolute black and white guidance and parenting. Now, what that creates within the child is an anger towards the parents, a resentment, and that anger cannot really be shown to the parent because of the consequences of challenging them. So what happens instead, that anger is stored within the child and is displaced either to their own children, so this is how we experience intergenerational trauma, or to other scapegoats in the outside world. And that's been mentioned in the comments, and that's very much what I'm talking about. It's very much that process. Intergenerational trauma is something that I deal with all the time in my day job. It's a large part of the reason people end up in mental health services, because of trauma that's passed through generations. And this certainly happens too when it comes to very rigid parenting styles and authoritarian parenting, which can then pass from one generation to the next, because the child who experiences it can't feed it back upwards to the parents, so they feed it back downwards, but also out to scapegoats, which is why politics of the right can often appeal to people who have been raised that way. One thing I do have to stress, however, is that in all these theories that I discuss, they are not universally applicable, as with all psychological theories, because it's a combination of nature and nurture. Some of it is a consequence of how you're brought up. Other of it is a consequence of your own unique personality structure and the sort of phenotype, if you like, the genetic structure you had when you were born. I certainly don't believe everything is genes and everything is predetermined, but at the same time, there is an element of that. So it's about the fit that occurs between the individual and the parenting they receive. So you put two people through a experience of authoritarian parenting, and some will themselves become authoritarians and become attracted to authoritarians, but others won't do that completely. And interestingly, very movingly, a number of you have shared stories where that has been the case for you, that you were raised by authoritarian parents who were very much followers of sort of fundamentalist Christian philosophies, but you didn't turn out that way, but your siblings did. So again, keep sharing. It's really moving to hear these comments. We make this real, we make this grounded in reality in people's lives. It's not just about theories, it's about what's happening in the real world. So thank you so much for sharing that, and for reminding us all, of course, of the extent to which this is both nature and nurture. But there's another issue that I wanted to discuss in today's video, which is that psychology that develops in Christians that makes them so connected to Trump is also about the Old Testament God, which is very much what a lot of fundamentalist Christians and evangelicals believe in. And the nature of that fundamentalist God, as one person put it in the comment, is almost a twin of Trump. It's almost like Trump is the twin of the God of the Old Testament, where he requires people to worship him. He will not countenance any opposition or challenge, insists on people making sacrifices for him, is perfectly prepared to cause great hardship to others, even killing women and children. Remember the whole village of Sodom in the tale of Lot, wiping out entire societies as in the Great Flood, again including children, and of course being perfectly committed to wiping out whole swathes of humanity, men, women and children, if they don't follow his laws, and end up burning in hellfire for eternity. So there's lots of cruelty, lots of anger, a great deal of judgment, a lot of punishment, and a propensity to, or an openness toward, violence to others. Now, of course, I hasten to add, this isn't how most of Christianity actually is, because then along came the New Testament, which gave a very different message of compassion, of healing, of care for others, of empathy, and of love. And of course, that is what most of Christianity as it's practiced around the world is. But certainly those people who have gravitated towards Trump tend to follow a version that is a lot more adherent to the Old Testament stories and version and vision of God. So certainly that is a key aspect of what leads people to follow Trump. It's almost as if a version of that God has appeared in the real world, and that's why their adherence to him is, as many have said in the comments for weeks now, almost a cult-like status, because he seems to be almost a personification of that kind of God that's described in the Old Testament Bible. That, together with the way in which the relationship he has with them is so similar to the relationships their parents had with them, makes it an almost irresistible allure that he has for them, and therefore that affinity is almost indestructible. Which is why whatever happens, as he said himself, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they would still support me. Whatever happens, he has that connection, that bond, because it's based on something deep. It's based on deep aspects of their psychology, of their upbringing, and of their indoctrination and philosophy from the earliest point in their life. And that's why Trump's relationship with his base is not one that we are going to see change, certainly as long as he remains in the public eye. Thank you for watching my video. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm also interested in philosophy and public policy and politics. And I aim to make a number of videos about these subjects, and particularly the intersection between them. If you're able to like and subscribe to this channel, then it'll really help, and also put in some comments whenever you can. That'll really help the algorithm. It'll really help promote this channel to other people. Now, beyond that, we are all, unfortunately, at the behest of a very small number of people who seem to run everything these days. And we are all at the whim of a tech oligarch who could decide tomorrow to end a channel like this because it's not in their favor. And because of that, I've set up a kind of email newsletter, which you can subscribe to. At the top of the channel, you'll see a web address. Please go there and subscribe to my newsletter. That way you can stay in touch with the videos I'm making. At least we can keep the content flowing. So I hope you can do that. And I hope we can keep talking and also gain clarity, not just about what's happening right now, but how we can get through this, how we can improve things to make a better tomorrow together. Thank you.